beautiful ones. I want to talk frankly about the heartbreak. Yes, I said heartbreak of being a single mother. I am Bird Mejia, intuitive healer, life coach, spiritual guide. So what's been coming up for me the last few weeks has been death and grieving in different kind of ways. What's happening right now is what's rising up, is what's wanting to be healed. And today I was just looking at the heartbreak of being a single mother and just thinking about that a lot of us don't realize that we're single mothers, that we are dealing with heartbreak. Well, what kind of grieving is there? There's several things we're grieving when we're single mothers. Number one is grieving a broken relationship, right? So there's that, right? And a lot of times when we're grieving our broken relationships, we are responsible for the children. So we don't have time really to really dive deep into the grief, because a lot of times the grief is patterns, we've been healing patterns, right, that we've had, and sometimes they're not even our stories. I know the relationship that I was in, it was actually repetition. It was very similar to the relationship that my grandparents had, and I didn't even know this until my mother died, right? So number one, we're grieving broken relationships. Number two, we're grieving not being supported. For a lot of us, even if you have a breakup where you're equally taking the kids, when you have the children, you're not being supported. And for some of you are like me, that you're not getting any support, right? Not emotionally with the children, not financially for the children. And that's a lot. I know my story. I was told that you're not going to receive a dime from me, all right? And so it's been this extra pressure of, maintaining everything, following my bliss, following what I love to do, financially supporting everybody, and emotionally being the only emotional support and never getting a break, right? So if that is your story, you're grieving not being supported, because you deserve to receive and you deserve to be supported. So that's a number two thing you're grieving. Number three is, I mentioned this, is the financial pressure. Grieving just that financial pressure that a lot of us have as single mothers, all this stuff, and it's my responsibility. I'm not splitting this with anybody. So that is another thing. And a lot of times, again, this receiving, and if any of you are having financial difficulties, whether you are a single mother or not, a lot of times as women, these are patterns of not receiving, right? If we can't receive little things, and if we're the one that is always giving and giving and giving, and we are giving to the children, we're giving to our spouses, and we're giving to all this, we're doing all this stuff, well, a lot of times we haven't learned to receive. So energetically, if you haven't learned to receive, how are you going to receive abundance? How are you going to receive even love abundance or financial abundance? So number three is grieving that. So number four is that you're grieving this repetition of patterns. This is a repetition. I bet you if you look, this is not the first time, right? You've had a broken relationship. You've had this thing. It's maybe, I know for me, it was something that I had since I was young. Same repetition. And then I look back, I'm like, where's this coming from? Mother, my broken relationship with my mother. And then I'm looking even past generations. A lot of this stuff is generational stuff. And, all of us have it. We've been living in this white male patriarchal system, which has really been destructive to the feminine, and it's been destructive to the masculine. It has caused, it's like the man has been around here taking knives to the women and to the children. And women, we've had to take things and recover it. But the man's been doing this stuff, right? And there are lots of beautiful men, but they have been a victim to the destructive masculine just as much. But for a lot of us, we're healing generations, right? We're grieving for our children, right? For a lot of us, we're grieving for the pain our children are feeling, right? And for some of us, that are single mothers that are doing it all on our own, we're grieving that our child is losing one of their parent. We know that they're grieving that parent is not showing up, and that there is grief. So that is another thing that we're grieving. So heartbreak. A lot of times we don't even have time to think about this. Now, I want to just for example, breast cancer, right? Everyone talks about the cure to breast cancer. Well, breast cancer is a heart chakra. It is a heart chakra disease. So my feeling on breast cancer is that, a woman, right? She's gotten her heart broken, and the man that she's dependent on, the man that that's supposed to be supporting her, is not supporting her. He's sleeping with another woman. He's doing this or whatever's going on. So her heart's broken, but she has a responsibility for the children, right? And so she doesn't have time. How many of you have time if you're a single mom to sit and grieve? You barely have time to take a shower, right? Come on. If you're a single mom, a lot of times we're just going, right? So if you don't have time to grieve that stuff, the anger and the rage, because part of the process of grieving is rage and anger, right? And you're grieving. I just listed all these things you're grieving when you're a single mother, and I know there's more. Comment before if I'm missing some of the other things you're grieving as a single mother, right? And if there's abuse, like I was in an emotionally abusive relationship, so grieving that, grieving understanding, grieving that, why did I stay for many years? Like that was a grieving, like why did I put up with this thing, you know? And there's some shame and there's guilt and all this stuff that you're grieving and you're processing through, right? So if you're not taking the time to grieve, well, what's happening to that anger and that pain? Is this getting turned inward, right? It gets turned inward to the heart. What happens when these emotions get inward into our bodies? They show up as disease, right? So that is how things are manifested in our body. So beautiful ones, I just want you to comment. I just want you to think about it and just honor yourself today. To honor yourself in all that you do, whether you are a single mother or a not, just to honor yourself. And then beautiful ones, I want you to take some time to grieve. Whatever it is that you need to grieve, it's important, so important to grieve. Go out into the woods and bawl your eyes out. Close the doors when the kids are sleeping and cry into your pillow. Like, get it out. If it doesn't come out, it's going to stay. Let it come out, and then it can go through you. And, you know, also just as it's coming out, but then also get resources and start learning skills so that you can handle things beautifully and you can transmute and you can change and you can heal the patterns. Powerfully do the work, beautiful ones. Anyways, put comments below. I would like to have this discussion about the broken heart of being a single mother. So anyways, beautiful ones, sending you so much love and light. Remember your power. Remember we're in this transformation period where the stuff that's coming up is coming up, and it's coming up powerfully because this stuff has been coming up powerfully for me, and this is the work I do for others, right? I have lots of years of healing experience and been training lots of different modalities, and stuff's coming up for me. So don't feel bad if it's coming up for you, because it's coming up for almost everybody I know. So it's coming up. So, right, you have your closet. New things, can you get new things in your closet if your closet's full of all of this grief and all this pain and all this stuff? And a lot of it's been there for centuries, for generations. Like it's our mother's stuff in the closet, our mother's old dresses, our grandmother's, our great-grandmother's. All this stuff is in our closet. We have to start getting rid of those things. When we get rid of those things, it empties it out so that we can receive new beautiful things. And that is what's happening right now. Universe is wanting to gift you with so much abundance, so much love, so much joy. But first, dig in deep, beautiful ones. Clear out your closets. Grieve. I love you.